as much as I would like a lot more greenways, I also work in logistics. So I am very deeply aware of just how complicated it is to have a bunch of pedestrian-only sections of the city, and how much that increases congestion in other areas. I don't have a car. I only cycle. I recently moved a little bit closer to my work, but I still cycle to my work every day. I get groceries on my bike. I actually, this weekend, every other weekend I'm doing a bike trip. So I'm taking the weekend and going off into the woods or to the coast or down south and just camping out with my bike. So I think I probably bike maybe like minimum 40 to 50 miles a week. On the ones I go longer, it's usually like about 200 miles a week. I've had maybe like 2 or 3 crashes, one bad one while I was on Portland roads. And I think it's really cool that like when you're biking in Portland, there's almost always someone that you have either just passed or you're about to pass. Someone's like turning across the street from you, and when you crash, immediately, every single person that's on a bike immediately goes towards you, offers if you need a bike kit to fix your bike, asks you if you need a first aid kit, they help you. Even when you tell them that you're fine and you just like bumped your head, they ask you if you're okay and they offer help. Cars often are pretty good about it. Traffic will stop pretty often and not like just swerve around you, but get out and offer help. And then the biggest thing is like transit. So like trains and buses will stop and wait for you to get out, and they won't be like ringing their horns or anything about it. I've even had like a train operator offer to call 911 to see if I was okay after I crashed on some tracks. I was in a rush, and I was on my e-bike and it was raining. So with the way the tracks are set in the ground, they're inset a little bit and they're light rail, so they're a different material than heavy rail tracks, which makes them a little bit more slippery. And generally you cross at either a perfect perpendicular or at most a 45-degree angle. And I thought that my wheels were wide enough because when it's dry, the wheels on that bike are wide enough. But when they're wet, like it didn't slip into the space in between the track, it just slipped on top, and that was enough for it to slide out from underneath me. And since I was on my e-bike and I was going 20 miles an hour, I slid for about 15 feet. Because the pavement was new and wet, and it was actually kind of fun, really. It was like a slip and slide, but more scary. And I was fine, but it was really nice that the train operator was like, offered help immediately. I was like completely fine. It means safety, really. It's not the best. There's definitely, with how Google Maps works, it often routes car traffic through the lowest traffic areas. So sometimes it's gotten better in recent years, but there are still problems with people thinking, oh, shortcut, there's no one here, I can speed up. So you always have to be aware, but as long as you keep an eye out, you're not going to have like semi-trucks passing you at 40 miles an hour, which is much safer than taking the highway. I think that they're a great idea. I like how they work. I think we need more, and we need better signage and better ways to prevent cars from getting in. I do like the recent there's been some recent talks in city government and infrastructure about limiting delivery vehicles, especially box trucks, delivery vans, Amazon-type vans, all that kind of stuff from greenways, which is amazing. The less times you have big trucks that can't stop on pedestrian ways, that's awesome. As much as I would like a lot more greenways, I also work in logistics, so I am very deeply aware of just how complicated it is to have a bunch of pedestrian-only sections of the city, and how much that increases congestion in other areas. And when you have increases in congestion, that drastically increases car accidents and people having road rage and all those other issues. It's all right. Hopefully your camera didn't run out too.